Episode, episode, episode 40. We are finally here, and guess what? We are recording. We are recording on a Monday. I think this is the first time I'm recording an episode on a Monday, and I've just seen how hectic this week is going to be, and I saw it fit to just record this on a Monday. Because I have time right now. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome again to the Cordial Podcast, and this is our final episode of season 1. Very grateful to be here, very happy to be here, and as I mentioned in the last episode, this episode will be more of a recap of how season 1 has been, and it has been an amazing journey. I can say an amazing journey where I cannot say it's a whole year, but it's close to that. It's just like 2 months away, for it to become an year of podcasting. And it has been a journey of learning and writing down goals and things I would want to achieve. Of course, there are things I have not achieved, especially on the sector of having guests, and I cannot blame anything for that because life comes at you fast. That is the only thing I can give out. But anyway, it has been a long journey which has been beautiful. I cannot even comprehend how long it has been, man. 40 episodes is 40 weeks. 40 weeks of constant, content production and, all these things, doing all these things and ensuring that I am consistent in doing these things. And I can say I'm proud of myself because, of course, kuna saa zingine unasikianga watu wanamalizianga podcast zao kwa episode 15, wengine wamefika 4, wengine ni 30, but we are at 40 and I don't feel like stopping, man. Whatever happens. So I'll start with a recap. I think my first recap, I think, is episode 1. Episode 1 nayo ilikuwa na jab. Wait. I had not actually prepared enough for it because I was still overthinking and doubting myself and all these things, wondering if I should start a podcast, if I should not, if I should wait, all these things. So it was just an abrupt thing. I wish I did it as the first take, and then I will take another one, so that I would have been probably more clearer. And I repeated a lot of things. There was a lot of repetition, but I can say as the journey moved on, I think I stopped on the repetition. As I said, it has been a beautiful journey. So that is my first recap. But it was a really good journey. I had a lot of listeners. That is my second recap, actually, is to admit that along the way I lost some listeners, which is hard nowadays to keep up with the same number of listeners, and I think most of it came because of realizing there are some topics that actually people want to listen to, and there's some topics where they're not really as captivating, but we still move on because that was my target of having conversations that are really general to people, but questions that we Gen Z especially ask ourselves in the lives that we're living right now. And so I can say, of course, it's a bit disappointing that I lost some listeners, just looking at the statistics that are available on Spotify for podcasters. And I feel bad, but I also think it's really not that bad because I was starting out and trying to understand the type of audience that I want, the type of audience that I would love to have as I continue the journey. And I got that, and I really got even into conversations with people, discussing these topics even further, and that actually makes you as a podcaster want to do more topics, because if now it is engaging to whoever listens to the episodes, it really lifts up my moods when I'm recording the next episode, because I know I can have meaningful conversations with other people, and I remember on my first episode I mentioned a couple of times that I love meaningful conversations, and it's not because I just love them because they are that, but it's because you get to know other people and how they think. Sometimes we live in a delusion where we think everybody should think like you do, but we've not had similar lifestyles, we've not had similar upbringing, so people have different ways of thinking, and that's what makes life beautiful. So yeah, I sat there and I was happy. I was happy to have conversations with people, even people I never thought I would talk about some things. There are people who just come about and they're like, "Hey, Munga, you talked about this and it didn't make sense," or "You talked about this and I've never thought about it from that angle." And I was like, yeah, these are the conversations I want to bring out when my audience is listening to the podcast. So, of course, I have dreams and all these things that I want to achieve when it comes to podcasting, but I think the journey has been fulfilling up until now, and I cannot say I am angry or that I am disappointed. No. Actually, I'm very happy, because me actually realizing that I can actually end a season, the first season, on a high, and not just leave my audience just like that and stop being consistent, is something that I should be proud of, and I'm happy of as of right now. So I wish I could mention everyone who listens to my to my episodes, but for data protection purposes, I will leave it at that. But thank you each and every one of you for listening. That I will keep on saying and saying. So another recap, I think it's on the interviews part. There are some people I actually recorded, and the recordings didn't make it to the podcast because, for one, I think the conversations we had in the recordings that I felt were too personal, and so with the permission and what do you call it, ikitu imenipatia kizungu imenipatia bana, okay, when people come to agreement that there's no need to air that episode because it will infringe on some privacy. And I think it was also one of my key learning moments of podcasting, because now I have to actually take it into account on how to interview people and not really dig much into their personal lives, especially when it comes to podcasting, because you're taking content out from somebody's life to the outside world. And I think it is knowing that boundary where you can not ask some kind of questions when you're recording, but you can ask them when it's now a personal conversation. And the conversations that I've said I had that were a bit personal, and I decided not to air the episodes. So yeah, that was one of it. There were other conversations where I, of course, from the I think my first guest was Sheila, and I think I loved that episode because I was really anxious on how I was going to handle that episode, and it was my first interview, and I was like, way about to end, but it was beautiful. I loved that. The conversation actually started even before we recorded, and those are the tiny bits of things I love about podcasting, where I can have a conversation with somebody so that they can feel as comfortable as much, so that before we start recording, then it becomes more chilled and somebody's not anxious on how they're going to answer things, and the vibe is just vibey. Venye walami wanasema. But yeah, so that was the first interview that I had Kavalaji, talking about events, which was a really insightful conversation that we had. Ni watu wenye hata nataka hata nikiingia YouTube I just bring them on board, because there are people who actually have information out here and some really great ideas, and I think they need some platform to just talk about it and feel hard on the topics that they find interesting and they've invested in. So that was Kavalaji, and then who else did I interview? Oh, there's the hyper realist brother of mine, artist Wamai, and hiyo kwanza hata ilikuwa too crazy juu getting to understand how artists work and how their timelines are when they're working on projects, and how they get to deliver in such a case where it's like Wamai does everything. He delivers the artwork, he showcases his artwork, he gives out artworks to celebrities, and you can see actually his work from his Instagram. He does content creation, all these things in one, and you can see how people push themselves to make a life out of the things that they have, and those are things you become proud of, especially to people you're close by, because he's a close brother, and you feel proud that there are people who are actually putting things into perspective in their own industries and life. So yeah, that was who else did I interview? Was there another interview really? Oh yeah, there were. Actually, my first interview that I recorded was with my friends, two really beautiful girls that I adore. Some really beautiful girls from from different parts of Kenya. But anyway, we met in school. They've been really supportive, actually. They're one of the top, actually, on the top 2 supporters of this venture of podcasting in my life. So I had the first conversation recorded with them. Unfortunately, there were some beats hapo katikati, sijui microphone ilifanya nini ikapoteza. So I was listening through that conversation after we had it, and I was like, yo guys, I am very, very disappointed to tell you guys that we can't air the episode because of technical issues. So yeah, I think I should have started with that story, because that one was a bit disappointing. I felt really bad because we had really deep conversations. I actually had to tell them tuache kuongea sasa, because recording ilikuwa imefika 2 hours plus bana. I wonder. But anyway, those are things that I would love to redo again, and of course we planned for that, and that will most assuredly happen. It might not be next month, it might not be this year, but it will definitely happen. So those are the few things that I can say on the part of interviewing. Was my experience. There are people who I set up meets with, which adulting came in between and didn't happen. And you just take life as it is, man, and you move forward. In between, actually, the other aspect of the recap that we are handling today was moving from recording directly from my phone to getting some Bluetooth microphones, and then I went back to recording with my phone, because I'm waiting. I think I should have thought through that, because I think that needs a bit of more investment when it comes to microphone and gadgets that we use when we are doing podcasts. And yeah, that will come with time, but we learn as the process goes by. I was really happy because that would mean I will do interviews, but life happened, and then in between still I got some internship somewhere, and it has been busy and busy and busy, so my time has been really caught up. You don't have time to plan things out, or you plan things out and then things have to be cancelled. All these things that happen, these are the experiences we have as podcasters, I can say, because hey, siku rahisi, but it's not just picking up your phone or your camera and setting it up and talking and talking and talking. There's a lot of thinking that goes in behind it. So I can say one of the main goals that I would love to achieve is doing my content video wise, and I'm really looking forward to that, because I think that's where the impact will come in. That's where my content, I think, will be better. But I know that comes with more responsibilities, that comes with more accountability and more hard work. Actually, working smart too, but hard work. So step by step we will get there, and I'm really, really proud to be at episode 40. I don't know, I can keep on talking and talking, but I've been really proud. So as we prepare to get into season 2, well, the only thing I can promise you is being consistent. That I can promise you right now, as we start season 2, is being more consistent, and also the return of snippets on our Instagram page. I've been working on that, and some new graphics, of course. Hopefully it will all be good. So to another season 2 of 40 episodes. 40? Will we? Yeah, we'll see about that. I don't want to put expectations and say it will be a 40 episode season, but we will see. I will sit down and handle that matter, and we will continue this journey. Very proud, and I appreciate each and everyone who takes time to just listen. I don't know how to explain it, but you feel good when you actually get people who are behind you, and that means the content that you're putting out is actually content that your listeners can resonate with. So I'm a really proud chap this day, really happy, really glad that we are here. And yeah, so this has been season 1. I don't want to start crying, this isn't really Meisha or anything. No, I don't want to start crying, but yeah, this is the end of season 1. It has been a pleasure. I will say that again and again and again. Thank you for listening in. That recap was short because vitu ni mingi za kuongelelea, na hii kitu ingefika mpaka 40 minutes, but yeah, I didn't want to make it long. I just wanted it to be as short as possible, but I can see it's now ranging like a full episode. But anyway, it has been a pleasure, guys. Thank you very much for listening in. Please watch out for season 2 as we move into it. It has been a pleasure. This is the Cordial Podcast with me, of course, Mungai Kang'ong'oi, signing out of season 1. Adios.